Hello, so now we're on section 6, queries, part of our Access database series with module 5 in our European Computer Driving Licence. We've already created a query previously, but I'm going to do one again, just a little bit different. We're going to edit and delete a query. We'll go on to then sort one, doing queries with related tables, having a look at those, and then showing lots of different examples, some with different value ranges, how to use operators, how to use non-matches, and then an under and or. So let's go along and do this together. So come with me. Okay, using the club demo clubs database, here's some examples of queries here, and we've got one here. I'm going to right click and go straight into design view, so I can show you the sorts of things that's going on in here. I just want to pull this grid down a little bit so you can see the contact table at the back. So all of the fields from the contact table have been dropped down onto the grid, and then what we've done is we're trying to extract some information of all those people in our database, in our table, who live in Lenton. So I put that criteria along the criteria line here. So let's run it or look at the datasheet view. Remember, running or looking at datasheet view is only a snapshot of what you've extracted. It's not been saved yet. And you can see that it's given us all of the people who live in the town of Lenton. So back to design. Let's close this database and database query, and let's create one ourselves. So I'm just going to close it here. And yes, just to keep it clean, and I'm going to right click. It has to be closed, in other words, before I can delete it. So I'm now going to delete it. Will warn me, and then it's gone. So let's actually create the same thing together. So I'm going to go to the Create tab. Remember that we use the query design because we need criteria in our database, in our query, to extract people that live in Lenton. So I'm going to click on there. And I'm just going to bring my table up here, so my show table area, so that you can see clearly. I'm going to add my contact table to the grid. So click on Add, click there, and close. And then I can drag that out. In my show table, I go back in here. Again, you can see that you can use more than one table, and you can also use queries within a query as well. So you can have multiple queries using two tables with different information. So I'll just close that again. So remember that we use the contact ref, and getting these down onto the grid, we double click. So contact ref, last name, initial, title, street, town and city, and postcode, and we'll leave the others, we don't really need them. Okay, so we have a sort here, so I could sort by ascending, so I could sort the last name by ascending as well if I wanted to. So we could click that on. We could find our criteria row across here, make sure we're in the right field, town and city, and we need to type in Lenton exactly as it is in the database data. Use the enter key to make sure that it fixes it and puts it in some speech marks. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run it. So we're going to have a look and see what that brings up. So it's not only put all our last name, our clients, if you like, or customers, in alphabetical order, but it's also brought up all those that live in the town of Lenton. If I wanted to hide the initial field, if I go back into the query, these are the show and display buttons. They're just a tick box. So I could take off the initial if I didn't want to see it, and then go in the front end, and you can see I can see all the information still. And I could even go in and take off the contact ref if it's not the sort of information that I want other people to be seeing. So that might be used in a way of relating the databases, but not actually needed in the analysis. So we've got that now. We can now save our database, that query. So click on the Save Query box, and we could give this the name of Contact Query. Okay, and that is now in our database, ready for us to use. So I can close it, and I can reopen it and look at it again, and I can even go back into it and I could modify it. So I could go in and say, actually, I do want to show all of the fields, so I'll bring that one back down, and then I could actually move it if I wanted to, and I could drag it to the front and then I could do that and then resave it so that it's back to being modified. And I could add some more criteria as well if I wanted to. So that's basic creating a database and editing that database. And we also, as you remember, deleted it. As long as you're on the outside, you can do that with any of these objects. You can delete them if you're on the outside using the delete feature there. There's a form, delete, etc. So that's that part of the query. Now with regards to printing a query, if I just double click on that again, if you go to the File tab and the Print and then the Print Preview, you will see the query that you're printing. In other words, it'll only print that. It's not like other things where you select certain things. This is something you've already extracted and analysed, so it's just a matter of printing. So in fact, to be honest, you could use the quick print up here and that would be sufficient. But in the test, always go to these areas, just makes you feel a little bit better. But you could just go print and then it would just print it is as it stands, okay? So let's just go back now and have a look. Just close the print preview and I'm going to close that query. Let's have a look at some of these other queries. We've got a not drama here, so let's right click and design view on that. And then you can see it's quite a lot of tables in here, all quite closely related to each other. If I drag this up here, you can see this is our criteria for not drama. So it's two chevrons opposite each other, the wide areas opposite each other, and it's asking us to bring up every one of the club names apart from drama. So if I run it, then everything comes up but not drama. I go back in. I could actually then add to this and I could put swimming. Notice I haven't done, I'm just going to open it up a little bit so you can see it. Notice I haven't done anything else. I need to put my not in, don't I? Because I don't want swimming. So this is how I do my chevrons. No spaces. I've not put any speech marks or anything. If I use the enter key, do you see how it fixes that as well, just like it did the drama? And then if I run it, then I don't bring up swimming either. So that's almost like a double whammy there. You've got a not, a non-match, but you've also got an and. So it shows how to use more than one criteria in the same row. So that's an and a non-match together. And let's just close this. If it wants us to save it, we can save. Let's have a look at a date query. Right click and into the design view. It's quite tricky, this one. We double click and open it right up so you can see it. So what this one is asking in the question would be dates after and including the 16th of the 1st, 2008, and before and including 23rd of the 3rd, 2008. So really it's asking for dates between the 16th of the 1st and the 23rd of the 3rd. So it's including the 16th. So the way I would type it in is that I just type in the greater than equal to the 16, and then I don't need to put the hashes in. And then I didn't even put the and in properly. I just put in a little and a lowercase and, in other words. And then I had a less than, an equal to, and I did put the hashes in. So basically I was just putting in what the question was asking me or what I wanted to bring out of this database query, and that's analysis on dates between the 16th and 23rd, including those dates. But at the end, once again, if you're aware in the test that if you use the enter key and in real life, then if you're close to what you're asking for, it will fix it for you. And then you can run it. Now sometimes in the test when you run them they won't mean anything, but it's a good thing to run because sometimes you could put the right criteria in the wrong field. So when you run it, nothing comes back, and then you've got a gist of the fact that you must have done something incorrect. So running in a test won't do any harm. Just go back to the design view and carry on with your test question. So we've had a little look at quite a lot of queries. There's just one more here, so just close this one and save it. And this one's a wildcard. So right click and design view. So this one, what we're going to do is going to use a wildcard. If we just look at the front end and see what the data is, we want to bring up all facility names starting with A. So we go back into design view. We've dropped all these down. We need the facility name criteria just here. And if we type an A and then we remember we use a star, remember that a star will act as any character following. Use an enter key afterwards and you see how it fixes it. So it puts a like in front of it and speech marks the A and the star or the asterisk. Then if we run it, it brings up all the things, all the facility names starting with A, and it even did it, if you just look again, with a capital A. If I put in a lowercase a, just try to do that, take my cap lock off and pop it in, and then do that and then run, and we get the same information. So that's quite useful to know. In the test you will tend to do things exactly, because that's what we do. It's like a driving test, isn't it, on the day, perfect, and then we go back to our little sort of habits that we have that obviously aren't dangerous. So that's using quite a lot of information there. Remember that also you can do more than one query, so you could bring up one thing and another. So I could also put things starting with, just check on a run, just see if I've got, let's open up facility just to see what the names are. Have a quick look here. So I've also got things starting with S. So let's do that one. So let's just close that. Sorry, let's close it there. Let's go back to this query here. So let's put in an OR as well. So let's put in starting with an S and then using the asterisk and then a like. And let's run that. So let's try something else. Let's take out the OR, and we've got a run on things that start with A, and let's just pick out criteria of greater than 5. That's probably a good one to use. So higher charge, here's our criteria. Let's use a greater than 5 and enter. Make sure we click in and then run that, and you can see that'll only bring up the one. So you can do value rate. You can use operators for greater than, equal to. You've seen it used in dates. You've seen star used for starting something, any criteria, any characters that follow a letter. So you've seen a number of different ways to do some queries. So they're all there. If you want to use these, they're all part of your learning if you're here with us at Coventry University. So have a look at them and open them up. That's it for queries today, and I'm going to be moving on to another